And if you are in the Jacksonville or Northeast Florida area,
or want to travel.
You're always welcome. So we don't have any announcements in terms of a immediate event. We're planning that might happen sometime in Q2, but we do have 2 awesome announcements I've been dying to share. If you are a part of the if you are part of the JPU Facebook page, you probably saw me tease this, but we finally have merch for sale, or will have merch for sale, and I'm going to see if I can't pull up the image. You think I should pull up the image? You think that'll be too complicated?
Well, if not, then you can always just cut it in and post, right?
You're right. There we go. I'm going to edit this show anyways.
But it's a great design. So, it's one of those things where we really come at this, we've been doing this for a little over 5 years now. And with each of the meetups, we've put a lot of our own personal
Never had a
income.
shirt. I know.
But it's evolved into a community that is much bigger than just the 2 of us. And so we keep thinking of ways to how do we show off the incredible community that is here, because we have a ton of really big podcasting giants here in North Florida. We both went to Denver to Podcast Movement back in August, and we met it was like a dozen Jacksonville either companies or podcasters that all went out to Denver to go to this conference. And so we have a lot of Jacksonville locals or North Florida locals that are powerhouses in the community. Buzzsprout, you all know and love them. But there's several other companies here. Alex over at Pod Pros, but he has so many other businesses too. Podmatch. So he has several businesses there. And just being able to network with that group and build the community that here is in North Florida, I think is a treasure. And I think being able to show off that community in person, so merch just makes a natural connection to that. And we went local, so we're getting local companies to print it. We're getting local people to design the shirt. We always host our events at a local establishment, so we know where our bread is buttered. And so we want to continue building on that. And so the shirt the design is impeccable. And so I can't wait for everyone to see it and get their reaction on it. But what are your thoughts on this new t-shirt design and new movement into merch, which isn't just the only thing we're doing. It's not just, hey, buy a t-shirt. It's, part of a growth movement for us and exploring different opportunities that the community has provided with close to 500 members now that we have.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're looking pretty strong. But yeah, this first shirt design is the first JPU piece of merch outside of the pins that we were giving away that we're offering to our members. It's going to be a limited run. We're going to do pre-orders only. We got to be financially smart about this one. But yeah, to Blythe's point, it is designed by an amazing local artist by the name of Emily Kwan, who is the wife of a fantastic local podcaster in our group. Big shout outs to Warren Evans. She is an amazing designer, Emily. So she designed our first shirt. I should have it edited here somewhere on the screen so you could take a look at it. We're going to have a pre-order page launching pretty soon. I think a couple of days after this episode posts or whatnot. All of the money, as Blythe said, goes back into the JPU, into the events we throw, and us growing this show, as well as our efforts in the JPU. So if you want to represent the Jax Podcasters United group proudly, this is your opportunity. I'll have links in this episode show notes. We'll also post it on the Facebook group. We'll also put it in the newsletter and all of that. Second major announcement, which I've been also excited to share, is that back in December, we had our Jax Podathon event. It was the first of its kind here in Jax. It was a charity event based around podcasting, and we threw an awesome night of educational speed dating, and we also had a little booth set up where attendees could talk about their show and what their podcast is about. We have finally edited those, and we're going to start rolling those out here on the YouTube channel as part of our new effort to be more consistent with content. I think we're calling them our Podcaster Spotlight series. So every episode will feature and spotlight a different podcaster in the Jax podcast community. And we're going to start with our guy, DL Cummings, host of the Liberty Dad podcast, a longtime member of the JPU. I mean, he's been attending these events for as long as I remember. So I think he's a great way to introduce this new series. And we'll figure out a rollout and a schedule for each of them. But we've got 12 total videos for this podcast series. So yeah, we're excited to introduce a lot of you to, amazing podcasters here in our hometown. And yeah, I think that is the JPU announcements for today. So you got your shirt or pre-orders that'll be happening soon, and be on the lookout for our new Podcaster Spotlight video series.
One more important note about that Jack's Podathon event, which we do plan on having, making it an annual holiday tradition, because we were able to that night it was a super rainy, windy night. It was miserable weather, but thank you to everyone who did show up to that event. We ended up raising $500 for Feeding Northeast Florida, which is fantastic.
But we're gonna crush it this
charity.
Year. All right, we're gonna break that. We're gonna go above and beyond this year. That was a good start. Good start. Valiant effort, troops. But we're gonna go big this time.
This group has always been about education and entertainment at the same time, which I think is the key to success for not only events but also podcasts as well. And so with all of that, the business is growing. We are not. It is a business, and so that is the reason for some of these changes, is that we got to be frank and honest and upfront with everybody, and that is we plan to at least break even with the business. So we're not trying to get rich, but we are trying to break even and trying to do so in ways that we really have thought long and hard about, with not only from the content perspective, but also from different solutions on building up a community. I think, both of us we didn't know what we started, more than 5 years ago when this group was established. We didn't know how many creators were in this space, but the cool thing about it is that our model is working to the effect of we're now talking to other people in other cities that are doing the same thing as the JPU. And so I think the community members, you should absolutely feel proud about every event that you've showed up to, that you have supported, and just know that your efforts are, very much appreciated, and other cities and other states are starting to notice, and they're starting to replicate this same JPU model. And so I think it's in a world where we are increasingly, sort of working from home, sitting behind screens, the third places, and creating those third place moments with the JPU meetups and educational sessions is going to be vital for the growth of this community and to continue those initiatives.
Perfectly said. And I think that is I think we can call this episode a wrap. The first episode of the new JPU show is in the books. Thank you guys for hanging out, for watching, for listening, and be on the lookout for more. Your last, like every podcaster does in their outro, make sure you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or whatever podcast app you're listening to. Sign up for our newsletter, which will be happening more regularly at Jack's Podcasters Unite. United?
Both. United. We probably
Unite
should know
and
that.
we got both. Okay, cool. Yeah, Jack's Podcast United.com.
I'm a domain squatter.
Look, how I like to say it, all of these links will be in the show notes, so you don't got to think or memorize any URLs. Check out the show notes for all this helpful information. Pre-order a shirt, watch some of these Podcaster Spotlight series, and come back for our next episode. Peace, y'all.